Hello, Catherine.
We're going to start off with President Hollande. He's been back on the telly. He's been talking about his biggest enemy, that stubbornly high unemployment figure. Yeah,
that's right. And he's particularly been looking at the issue of youth unemployment in what some are saying is simply a cynical ploy to win youth votes. François Hollande announced that he's expanding an income supplement payment to all workers under 25. And that means that if you're working and earning less than €1,400 a month, you can get a top-up payment from the government of up to €130. Now, this did exist already, but it's being expanded to a wider group, to all of those under 25s. That can include students, apprentices. A whole load of extra people are going to be brought into this income supplement bracket. Now, the idea is to support those that are in apprenticeship or entry-level positions to keep them in work and off social welfare. Now, the measure is set to come into force next year. It's estimated to benefit more than 1 million young workers. The President says it won't cost more than the current €4 billion the government spends annually on income supplements. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
This work bonus will be for all those who are doing what we call small jobs, part-time or interim employment. We're going to give them an added advantage, a supplementary bonus that will allow them to get ahead at work and to carry on working.
Now, of course, this is a bonus that will only help people who are already working. It won't help those estimated 670,000 young people out of work here in France, almost 1 in 4 of the active population. For them, the French government is trying to increase interest in internships, or apprenticeships rather, with incentives for employers, but that hasn't worked so far. The number of people signing up to these training programmes actually fell by 3% last year.
OK, let's turn our attention to another European country, Greece now, looking for a solution to its debt crisis. Any signs of a solution on the horizon?
It sort of depends on who you ask in this situation, because there are now so many players involved between Greece and its international lenders. Let's talk about the European head of the IMF, Paul Thompson. He's been speaking to the German newspaper Handelsblatt. He says there's been more impetus in talks between the Greek government and its international lenders in recent days. Now, they're trying to agree on a list of economic reforms that Athens needs to carry out in exchange for the last €7 billion of its bailout loans. But in this interview, he did say that they were far from the target needed, attempting to try to get this agreement before a meeting of European finance ministers on Friday. At the same time, we've had the head of France's central bank saying that Greek banks are low on the collateral needed to access emergency funding from the ECB. That could create another potential problem in the Greek economy. All of this creating a lot of tension over what's going to happen next in Greece. Let's listen to one of the key players involved in this, and that's the European Central Bank President, Mario Draghi.
We all want Greece to succeed. The answer is in the hands of the Greek government. And the first priority at this point is to continue. By the way, some constructive things have happened in the recent past in terms of constructing, building a well-functioning policy dialogue. But more work, if I say much more work, is needed now, and it's urgent.
So a little bit of optimism there from Mario Draghi. Greece not worrying the markets too much in Asia in trading today. They were much more preoccupied with the Chinese central bank, which announced that it was cutting the amount of cash that Chinese lenders need to hold in reserve. That's an effort to stimulate lending in the Chinese economy. We had seen some rises on the Shanghai Composite earlier in trading. As you can see, it's fallen back into the red now. Similar picture in Hong Kong. The Hang Seng down almost 1.8% there. Just the Kospian Seoul managed to eke out some very small gains in trading today. Let's take a quick look next at some of the day's other top business stories. Google is to overhaul how it ranks search results. That's in a move that's being dubbed Mobile-geddon. The search engine says the update will start on Tuesday and will favour sites that are mobile-friendly. This coming just days after the EU lodged a complaint against Google for how it prioritised its own services in search results. Deutsche Bank is said to be preparing to spin off its retail banking arm Postbank. Various media reports saying the move is part of a strategic overhaul at the lender. Postbank has 1,100 branches and was bought by Deutsche Bank in 2008 for €6 billion. And a new investigation has shown the Bitcoin trading website Mt. Gox may have been insolvent for almost a year before it collapsed in 2014. The inquiry team tracked all transactions of the virtual currency in the run-up to the site's closure 14 months ago. It says the theft of the coin started as early as 2011, and Mt. Gox had been nearly cleaned out by 2013. Around $500 million worth of bitcoins were lost in the site's collapse.
I told you it would never catch on. If I can't understand it, it's never going to work.
It could still happen. morning.
still
you.
work. Okay, maybe I have to learn about bitcoins one day. All right, we've got one final business news story. One industry, or staff in one industry, looking for a bit of sympathy. They're well paid, but they say they've got dull work, no pay rises, and dreadful colleagues. Who are these poor
Definitely
people?
not us.
No, it's not us.
I point out at this hour of the morning, at least one of those things aren't true. This is a survey of workers based in the finance industry carried out by the executive consultancy group Options. Now, of the 100 senior executives in the finance and banking industry that they interviewed, only 1/5 said they were happy with their job, pay and prospects. Now, apparently this is interesting because it's being driven, this unhappiness, by a cut in bonuses, but also increased regulatory scrutiny, which is meaning that their workload is changing. Of course, the central bank actions driving down things like bond yields and currencies means that profits are coming down too. That's putting more pressure on people and hurting things like bonuses. It's the 5th year this survey has found a downbeat atmosphere in this industry. One interview saying that in a lot of cases, keeping your job is the only bonus you'll get.
Oh my goodness.
But of course,
keeping your job that you hate.
We shouldn't have too much sympathy though, because the average earnings for the people they've surveyed was between $500,000 and $1 million a year. So
I'm sure they can buy themselves some consolation.
Some small compensations.
There are. I would take $1 million a year if anyone's interested in giving it to me. Thanks very much. Stephen Carroll, not paid nearly enough, our business editor here on Live from Paris.